Take a little step this way. Right there.
To Reagan Schmidt, I love you. These words will never quite express the emotion I feel towards you. Since the day I fell in love with you, I have been falling, tumbling head over heels, falling deeper and deeper in love with you. With every moment that passes between us, to know that you are in this world is to exist for me. It is hard to imagine that a connection so deep can be shared by any other earthly being, for the way I feel about you defies the laws of nature. It has been said, quote, love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space. Maybe we should trust that even if we can't understand it. These words mean something to me that is hard to put into a letter. Every time we touch, I feel a sense of holistic comfort and permanent love that I know I have not earned, but more never deserve from you. To me, you are the embodiment of what it means to find peace. Your mere presence brings me to my knees and puts tranquility beyond humanity into my soul. I thank you for your existence and feel honored to share your presence with the world. In a more modern sense of how I portray my commitment, I want to tell you that I love you more than I love life. Without you, life is meaningless. You bring me happiness that is not found by worldly something. There is something that can exist that will mean more to me than your love that can't exist. Oh. You have changed my existence from being one of self-independence and favor to one whose don't know, is the love something your needs, and being, and bring you a love that cannot, I don't know. This is so great. I love you, Reagan, and there's nothing that I can do to feel worthy of your existence. I love you more than yesterday, but less than tomorrow. Love, Leon Emmett Sport III.
The video's gonna be like, I don't know that.
I literally said that. I'm like, the handwriting is.
Is it cursive?
He wrote in cursive, which he never does. He must have been like, this is a big moment. So, yep. Okay, 2 letters. Here we go. Oh boy, this one might be worse. Okay. To Reagan, I fell in love with you before I ever had a full understanding of just how amazing you were. Since that day, I have been striving to gain your, no, it's not striving, probably, to gain your affection. Your existence has lettered me in every single way. I will love you until my find days. I don't think that makes sense, but okay. And then there's a quote. Baby, the moon no longer screams at me. I love the way we spend over time. Well, I can dream again. Yeah, I'm home now. I'm ready for the days that are to come. Love, Leon Emmett Sport III.
This is
We're not faking it.
okay. It's a bag.
Ooh, that's so pretty. It's all of our birthstones.
Oh, it's Reagan. I want to hug you, but I don't want to wreck you. Oh, thank you, honey. I love it. Oh, do we wear them?
So pretty.
We should wear them, right? Oh, honey, thank you.
No, it goes in order. So it's Mom, then me, I'm blue, Claire, you're the pink, and Austin's the diamond.
Perfect, thank you.
So pretty.
Reagan, it's beautiful. 4 sisters. I made the
You made the cut.
They do mine.
Oh, look, honey.
I like
So
how dainty
pretty.
they were, too.
Thank you.
Ray, you can walk down. Oh, she's coming. You want to just tell them that? Yeah. They're all hidden, I'll tell you. Whenever you're ready, girl.
No, you're not.
Ray, why don't you walk
Oh, shoot, that top one keeps coming out. Let me try. Yeah.
You go ahead, girl.
Huh? Yes, it's amazing. Oh my God. Oh, sure.
No, the earrings look so pretty.
I'm like, they're missing. Yeah.
This would be such a nice reminder of the wedding. Like a little
Sunday is our anniversary and Mother's Day. Right. Are we on schedule? Yeah. Sure. Lucy, you look gorgeous. Thank you, so do you. Yes.
This is fabulous. You guys look so good together too.
Yeah, we do.
You did a good job. Doing that. Oh my goodness. She looks so breathtaking.
Beautiful. Wow.
Look at her veil.
Yeah.
Spin around, maybe.
Wow. Beautiful.
You look handsome.
Yeah. Like you're surprised. Yeah. You look great. I love the dress.
Yeah, is it cool?
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a day of comedy.
Yeah.
Not for me.
You're like,
You're so pretty. Can I kiss you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you crying?
Probably.
I want to pick you up and spin you around, but I'll rip your dress off you.
Probably.
You're so pretty.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too. You have an eye booger.
No, don't say that. Too funny. Oh, no.
Does not want to stay. Here, I'll hold it. We don't try it. You want to put it in your hair?
Yeah.
Love you.
I'm mic'd up, so they heard you say that.
Yeah, that's fine.
You look so pretty.
Thank you. It's crazy. I know. You think you're gonna whisper and they're not gonna?
Hopefully.
I love you.
I love you. Oh, I heard the monster.
Did you read my letter?
I did.
Yeah.
Did you read my letters?
Yeah, out
All
loud.
2 of them?
I couldn't read your handwriting.
No, that's not true.
It is
So
every like
hard.
fourth word. I was like,
No.
eternity.
You look so
Love
pretty.
you.
I love you. This
You
dress
look
is so
handsome.
gorgeous.
You like it?
Yes, you look stunning. I missed you.
Love you.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready
Let's
for
do
the
it.
gay party?
Let's do it.
Let's go, buddy.
Please be seated. On behalf of Reagan and Lee, welcome to their wedding ceremony. Let's pray together. God, your disciple John taught us that you, God, are love and you are light. And whoever lives in love lives in you. Today, we gather to celebrate Reagan and Lee and witness the commitment to live in love alongside one another all the days of their life. We ask that the events of today would honor you and be a clear testimony of that commitment. And we ask not just for this day, but for the days to come in their marriage, that your light shines through them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We'll proceed with a reading by Hannah Steendam. The piece is titled From Beginning to End, from Union, written by Robert Fulghum.
From Beginning to End, from Union, by Robert Fulghum. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you have been making promises and agreements in an informal way. All those conversations that were held riding in a car or over a meal or during long walks, all those sentences that began with, when we're married, and continued with, I will, and you will, and we will. Those late night talks that included someday and somehow and maybe, and all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all of those things we promised and hoped and dreamed? Well, I meant it all, every word. Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to another. Acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, and even teacher, for you have learned much from one another in these last few years. Now you shall say a few words that take you across the threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these vows, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, and this is my wife.
The second reading today will be given by Tim and Ashley McKeegan. It's called Blessing for a Marriage from James Billet Freeman.
May your marriage bring you all the exquisite excitements a marriage should bring. And may life grant you also patience, tolerance, and understanding. May you always need one another, not so much to fill your emptiness as to help you know your fullness. A mountain needs a valley to be complete. The valley does not make the mountain less, but more. And the valley is more a valley because it has a mountain towering over it. So let it be with you and you. May you need one another, but not out of weakness. May you want one another, but not out of lack. May you entice one another, but not compel one another. May you embrace one another, but not encircle one another. May you succeed in all important ways with one another and not fail in the little graces.
May you look for things to praise and often say, I love you, and take no notice of small faults. If you have quarrels that push you apart, may both of you hope to have a good sense enough to take the first step back. May you enter into the mystery, which is the awareness of one another's presence, no more physical than spiritual, warm and near when you are side by side, and warm and near when you are in separate rooms, or even distant cities. May you have happiness, and may you find that making one another happy. May you have love, and may you find it loving one another.
At this time, Reagan and Lee will light a unity candle to symbolize the union of their two families. During the processional, Sarah and Barbara each lit a respective candle to symbolize each of their families. Reagan and Lee will now take those separate candles and together light the unity candle as a symbol of their marriage.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you'll stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, won't you stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you'll stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, won't you stand by me.
Wow, thank you, Addie. Reagan, Lee, day's finally here. Day you've been waiting for. The public statement in front of everyone that you care about. Look around, take it in. Isn't this incredible? The symbol of commitment and the public statement that you're going to work on that commitment the rest of your lives, putting the other before self. Leading up to this day, we met to talk about the details. Matter of formality, I guess you could call it. But there was a specific question that I had asked in regards to the ceremony. It went something like this. If a stranger walked in today, took a seat in the back, and observed the ceremony, this wedding day, what would you want them to know about your relationship? What would their takeaway be? And I know you're smiling and laughing right now. I wrote that in here because I knew you would be. Because you know what they told me? They said, well, our relationship is based on the fact that we're really just great friends. Friends? Usually, the friend zone is one of the end of the relationship or the roadblock from even getting started in the first place. I was like, hey guys, I hate to break it to you, but you do know that's kind of the exact opposite idea of marriage, right? Friendship? Really? So as you can imagine, there were a few follow-up questions. I made them go on to explain this whole friendship deal. They went on to say how much they truly enjoy each other's company and being together. The first person you go to share news, whether good or bad. An adventure buddy that you can do everything from climbing the Via Ferrata to snorkeling in Mexico. A special bond that goes above and beyond attraction. That the fun side that everyone sees translates to behind closed doors. You enjoy sharing the details of life together. When life isn't easy or glamorous, when tough decisions need to be made, this is where your foundation shows and your communication thrives. And as I got to thinking after that dinner, I think they might have been onto something. In the opening prayer, I mentioned some words from the Apostle John, that God is love and God is light. I'm going to go back to the book of John here. From John chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. Jesus says, my command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. And isn't that what we're here for today? The commitment to love each other until death do us part. There is no greater show of love. Jesus goes on to say, I don't call you servants, I call you friends. For everything I learned from the Father, I have made known to you. Jesus calls us friends because he sees us as equals, sharing all the knowledge he has with us, the human nature of God manifested right here on earth with and among us as a friend. And I believe that's how you see each other, as true equals. When you love each other, it's an extension of God's light shining through you. When you put the other before yourself, God's light is there. And when you love those friends and families here around you, once again, an extension of God's light shining through you. I've experienced this love from Reagan and Lee firsthand. When Reagan and Lee purchased their first home in 2020, before they even closed on it or moved in, they called to ask me what kind of ramp they needed for me in order to be able to access their home. What might seem like a small detail to most, but a testament to how much they care about the people in their lives. Because what are we without our friendships? Your genuine care for the friends around you is evident. Each person sitting out there in those chairs has a personal story of how you have impacted their lives in a unique and special way. There are many quotes about friendships, talk about friends, but simply put, one of my favorites, you are the company you keep. You are the company you keep. So keep your friends and family, all those that are gathered here today, and those that are unable to make it, keep them close and keep each other closer. Today is the beginning of a special bond. In a few moments, you'll say the I do's, exchange the rings. The night will be underway. There will be drinks and dancing, and all these lovely smiling faces will be celebrating you. And before you know it, you'll be back at your house in Denver, wondering how it all went by so fast. So if I can leave you with something, I hope it's this. From this moment, you are forever changed. When you get back home, you can't expect to resume life the way it was, because the two of you are no longer the same. Just as we heard earlier in the two readings you chose, this is a new chapter. The two of you are to become one. All of your individual strengths uplifted, all the successes that you can rejoice and celebrate in together, and all of your vulnerabilities and weaknesses too, confided in one another. The very balance of completeness. This day is a culmination of all the days leading up to it. But it's just the start. Never lose sight of the friendship that brought you two together. This bond will solidify your relationship. Forever equals, forever friends. Amen. Lee, do you receive Reagan as your wife? And do you promise that you will, with the gracious help of God, family and friends, love, honor, respect, care for her in all the trials and blessings your future holds, never forsaking her, as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Great. Reagan, do you receive Lee as your husband? And do you promise that you will, with the gracious help of God, family, and friends, love, honor, respect, and care for him in all the trials and blessings your future holds, never forsaking him, as long as you both shall live? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Reagan and Lee have written their own vows and will read them to one another at this time.
I had to write it on a program. I gave it to someone earlier and then they threw it out by accident, so round 2. I, Leon Sport, take you, Reagan Schmidt, to be my wife. I vow to love you and cherish you. I vow to care for you when you are sick and celebrate you when you are healthy. I vow to hold you close when you need support and to cheer you on in every challenge you face. I vow to squeeze the limes when we make margaritas and wax your skis before each season. I vow to string your tennis racket before each match and pump your tires before each ride. I vow to cherish you every moment that I have with you, and I vow to love you for eternity. No matter how many mornings I wake up next to you, it will never be enough.
I, Reagan Schmidt, take you, Leon Sport, to be my husband. I vow to love you and cherish you. I vow to care for you when you are sick and celebrate you when you are healthy. I vow to hold you close when you need support and cheer you on in every challenge you face. In you, I've found a partner in life, a friend, a safe space, someone I can be my most vulnerable with. In you, I have someone who supports me, honors me, respects me, and pushes me. Thank you for embracing every part of me. This past month has been a true testament to the man that you are and the husband that you will be. I can't count how many times you've said, "What can I do to help you?" and helped me stay on task even when I was sometimes procrastinating. And you always knew when to take me out for tacos and margs after a stressful day. I promise to jump at every opportunity to adventure with you, whether it be skiing, camping, traveling, and maybe even scuba diving. I vow to always encourage your zest for life and to be your cheerleader. I vow to challenge you to be the best version of yourself and to keep you humble, only when you need a reminder. And I promise to love you unconditionally, and I will love you forever.
Reagan and Lee have chosen to symbolize their commitment to one another with the exchanging of rings. Lee, repeat after me. Reagan, I give you this ring
Reagan, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love for
as a symbol of my love for
and faithful devotion to you.
and faithful devotion to you.
I promise to cherish you for all of our days.
I promise to cherish you for all of our days.
Reagan, repeat after me. Lee, I give you this ring
Lee, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love for
as a symbol of my love for
and faithful devotion to you.
and faithful devotion to you.
I promise to cherish you for all of our days.
I promise to cherish you for all of our days.
For as much as Reagan and Lee have consented to holy matrimony, have declared their commitment to each other and before God, their family, and friends, and symbolize that commitment through the exchanging of rings, I now pronounce you husband and wife. What God has joined together, may no one separate. Lee, you may kiss your bride. Reagan and Lee, once again, thank you all for joining today. They invite and encourage you to now celebrate. Cocktails will be served at the bar on the patio. Reagan and Lee request that Reagan's grandparents and Lee's aunts and uncles remain in the area for a family photo. And without further ado, family and friends of Reagan and Lee, it is my great pleasure to present to you, for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Sport.
This will be everlasting love. This will be what I waited for. This will be the first time anyone has loved me. Oh, I'm so glad you found me in time, and I'm so glad that you defied my mind. This will be an everlasting love for me.
It is stunning. Isn't it pretty? The cake.
This is when, Brandon, this is when they play levels.
Oh, that'd be on the dance floor.
Wow. It's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could please turn our attention towards the patio doors that we entered from cocktail hour I've got some very, very important people I'd like to introduce. First up, can we please get a big round of applause for Aaron, Andrew, and Avery? All right, following them, let's hear it for Sarah and Chris. Alright, at this time, put your hands together for Margaret and Neil. Alright, following them, we got Caitlin and Brian. Alright, next up, let's hear it for Greta, aka G Money, and Mackie, aka Mac Alright, next up, let's hear it for Addie and AJ. Alright, next up, let's hear it for our mayor of honor, Austin and Larry. Alright, next up, let's hear it for our mayor of honor, Claire and best man, Zay. This time, I'm gonna need everyone up out of their seats and help me welcome our bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Sport. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for our wedding party.
First thing I want to say, God damn, you all look good. I think after 2 years of lockdowns, we forgot how to dress up and look good. Really good to be with you. I'm Robert Schmidt. I'm father of the bride, and it's so great to be with all of you here. People traveled from far away to be here with us, and we really appreciate it. Reagan's first invitation, her first shower invitation was sitting on the fridge back in February, and it said, "Love is the greatest adventure." And I thought, there's really a lot of truth in that. And so I used that as my inspiration for these words I'd like to share with you. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock goes the clock. It's so rhythmic, it's almost soothing. It lulls you into a false sense of security. Tick another coffee, talk another meeting, tick another lunch, talk another quiet night in. And before you know it, you've been lulled into a false sense of security. The rhythm is, excuse me. Yes. And before you know it, you're so numb from the comfort of routine, you didn't feel a thing as that great adventure called life slipped away like sand between your fingers. But fear not. Adventure has other plans. Roll with it. Embrace adventure. Don't let comfort take you down. Rise above routine and monotony. Ride shotgun with fear in the unknown. Don the uniform of the restless. Get uncomfortable being comfortable. And here's the reward for that discomfort. Your heart will be fuller, your compassion deeper, your horizons wider, and your memories way, way better. Before you die, make sure you have lived. Please, raise a glass with me and toast to the adventure of Mr. and Mrs. Sport. Thank you.
Great, great. That was perfection.
Perfect.
Cheers. Cheers.
Wow.
Cheers, cheers.
Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could please all turn our attention towards the head table and put our hands together for our maid of honors, Claire and Austin.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire. And I'm Austin, and we are Reagan's younger sisters. We're so excited to be here tonight celebrating Reagan and Lee with all of you, but even more excited to be up here to share exactly how we feel about each of them. As the quintessential oldest child that she is, Reagan has been testing the waters for us from day one. And if you know anything about me and Claire, you know we've been taking notes, figuring out exactly what we can and can't get away with. She has been a leader, an example for us to look up to, and more importantly, a built-in best friend. Growing up, Reagan was the one sister I could always count on to be there for me, as Claire went through a multi-year phase of testing out just how mean she could be to me without getting in trouble. Reagan was the cool older sister, and I wanted to be just like her. We shared a bathroom and poured ice water on each other in the shower. We hid in each other's closets for a good scare, and we were always teammates in the Schmidt kids soccer games against Claire and Lake, although it should be noted that not a single one of these games ended without someone in tears. Our bedrooms shared a wall, and we developed a knocking code to communicate with each other when we were in bed. I'd sneak into her room after our parents went downstairs, and we'd talk and flip through her collection of teen magazines, and then both fall asleep in her bed. Reagan was always the mom of the kids among our extended friends and family, and was constantly looking out for all the other kids. She comforted me when Claire tried to cut the tip of my finger off in the hinges of a door, and tended to Avery's broken leg when the parents couldn't be bothered to stop their party for a trip to the ER. She always planned the Thanksgiving scavenger hunts, preferred to sit at the adults' table, and every year wrote our group letter to Santa on Christmas Eve. And this still happens, by the way. And she just can't seem to make it past 9 p.m. on New Year's because she's either too drunk or too tired.
I've always looked up to Reagan, and even though we now bond over good tequila and designing the perfect charcuterie board, rather than American Girl dolls and synchronized swimming, she has remained the caring older sister who I can go to for anything.
My relationship with Reagan growing up was slightly different. We were only 18 months apart, so we always looked very similar, played on the same tennis and soccer teams, coached synchronized swimming together, and stayed up later than the other two after we pretended to fall asleep with them. And we often told people we were twins because we looked and acted the part. We also told people Austin was adopted because it made me feel like I was closer to Reagan in a time I was probably threatened by Austin's existence. And while I always considered myself Reagan's sidekick, she always seemed much cooler and older than I did. She was always the first to go through major milestones in life, the most exciting times of our lives. Her first middle school party with boys, first to get a boyfriend, a job, and a driver's license. I always saw Reagan in this way growing up, much cooler, older sister, until her 16th birthday party. Which was glitter-themed and had customized glitter chapstick party favors that I know some of you probably still have today. This was just the beginning of her glittery, Justin Bieber-loving phase, which turned out not to just be a phase, but more like a lifestyle. She established Glitter Fridays, where she wore glitter to school every Friday with her friends. Hyperextended her elbow throwing glitter at a birthday party. And if you ask her today, she'll say one of the best concerts of her life was the Jonas Brothers concert this past fall. This started a phase in our relationship where I started to catch up to Reagan and experiences. We drank for the first time underage at a high school football game. She helped me manage my high school basement parties. I introduced Reagan to her very first Zin, which was a little regrettable. And eventually, I'll probably get Reagan to try her first cigarette, except that might be a better job for Lake. The reality is, this sparkly view of the world is what makes Reagan such a good sister, friend, child life specialist, and what will make her such a great wife. Which brings us to Lee. Lee first caught Reagan's eye on the tennis court during DU club tennis tryouts, and it wasn't because of his tennis skills. It probably had more to do with the striking resemblance of one of her favorite movie characters, Jacob Black, the dreamy Twilight werewolf. As the captain, Reagan gave Lee a shot on the team, and while his tennis skills might have been sufficient, she did have a little work to do. Let's remember, Lee was a snowboarder, and a little bit too obsessed with his fraternity lifestyle. This isn't necessarily the type of person we thought Reagan would end up with and eventually marry, but it soon became clear why they were meant for each other, even though they're very different in many aspects. They're the perfect balance to each other and frequently keep each other in check. Like, for example, when Reagan is losing a game of mini golf, stops talking to you for the last few holes in anger, walks off the mini golf course before everyone else to avoid eye contact. Lee steps in, calls her buddy, cracks a joke, and gives her a big bear hug. Or when Reagan gets too drunk, lies on the floor with our very much alive dog, Kiki, sobbing because she thinks Kiki just died in her arms. Lee indulges her in her sadness, remains patient and caring and loving, when I all but roll my eyes at her ridiculousness. But Reagan is also the perfect person to keep Lee in check, as we probably all know. Like when they come to visit us in Chicago, and Lee has one too many margaritas, and tells everyone, no, he was not drunk, he was roofied. Reagan indulges him with Gatorade, baguettes, and sympathy and love. But she's also not afraid to keep him in check and call him on his nonsense. Like when Lee denies returning to college fraternity parties as a postgrad, despite his Instagram telling everyone else otherwise. Or melting Reagan's ski boot through his homemade boot dryer. Or his irrational fear of cilantro and the absurd overreaction he has when he smells it from across the room.
Lee's endless energy and excitement for life is contagious. His confidence is unmatched, especially when it comes to talking about his buddies. If Lee considers you a buddy, congratulations, because he is hyping you up behind your back to people you may never meet. And if Lee is telling you about a buddy of his, make sure to ask a couple questions, because this person may or may not exist. Anyone in the Schmidt family will readily agree that we like to keep him humble. And Lee has learned that if he's going to mention a buddy in front of us, we need proof of existence. Lee eventually learned this at right about the time we learned of his endearing family nickname, Tall Tale Lee. This brings me to one of my favorite stories about Lee. While in Mexico, he refrained for most of the week from telling us about his buddy Pedro, who lives in Sayulita, owns his own brand of liquor called Raicilla, and is opening up a hotel. This has all the characteristics of a classic Lee buddy story, where the person in question has a niche hobby and lives just far enough away that you can never confirm or deny their existence. See Exhibit B, buddy who is a ski guide in Japan. But when Pedro walks out to meet us, the story checks out. Pedro does exist. His boutique hotel is coming along nicely. And he will join you for dinner and teach you how to drink raicilla in the style of a Nikolashka. Reagan and Lee share so many common interests and goals for life. They are adventurous, hardworking, family-oriented, and overly competitive in the most trivial of circumstances. And they truly make each other better individuals. Like with Lee, who has been turned into a Packer fan.
This side.
Yeah. Consumed so much spotted cow that the average Wisconsinite is mildly impressed. And we're slowly working on turning him into a Dave Matthews fan. And it's clear that now Reagan sees beyond Lee's Twilight werewolf resemblance for all the amazing things he has brought into her life. We're so excited to officially have Lee as part of the family. Reagan and Lee balance each other out perfectly, and you can see in the way they interact, they're truly in love and made for each other. It's so amazing to be here with all of you tonight. Cheers to the happy couple.
And go sports!
have to get more drunk, I guess.
Yeah, mine's not that bad. Don't worry about it.
Put the sunglasses on.
Yeah, buddy. You should have went first, bro.
I should have.
Give it up for them. I should have gone first, huh? So my name's Zane, and I am one of Lee's buddies. I do exist. All of the stories he's told are true. About me, yeah. Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, I've told some of you, last Sunday I went out on a bit of a bike ride to prepare for this speech. Came up with the most spectacular speech you've ever heard. Way better than that one. But you're going to have to take my word for it, because soon after I went flying off the bike, landed right on the head, got a bit of a concussion, and that speech is never to be seen again. Yeah, so these lights are a little tough. The good news, I get to pull the concussion card, so I can't be held accountable for anything I say tonight. Yeah, I got a lot of advice for this speech, what to say, how to embarrass Lee, how to make you all laugh, all the stories we could tell. And I could do that. I could go on for days about the stories me and Lee have been through together. Maybe when I met Reagan, spontaneously, which also happened to be the day that Lee took me to 8 hours of Oktoberfest beer tasting. You're a saint. And I could tell you about a night in Park City that Lee racked up a $1,000 bar tab and got a ride home with a cop. But we're gonna save those ones for later. Feel free to ask. We'll tell you all the dirt on Lee. I think what I want to tell you about this guy is something that we give him a lot of shit for, is the Lee Sport effect. What is the Lee Sport effect? Well, I'm sure everybody in this room has come across it at some point or another. His unprecedented ability to have a new best friend 10 minutes into walking into any room possible. To have... some kind of personal connection, gets in on a deep level, whether it's somebody he's known forever or somebody he just met. I first saw this about 4 or 5 years ago. We went halfway across the world. We're in Europe, and we've been in our Airbnb, absolutely exhausted for maybe 10 minutes. I think AJ might already have been asleep. And Lee brings in 10 strangers. 10 absolute strangers. We had no idea about it. Shout out Peter and Claire. Turned into one of the best nights we've had together. Lee ended up on a stripper pole that night. Another one for later. Yeah, it happened again 4 weeks ago out in the middle of the Caribbean. We're on a boat. Not a person in sight. And somehow this guy becomes best friends with a captain from New Jersey. For better or worse, has been to every single bar this captain has also ever been to. So, but no, it's really a gift, and you make this world feel a little bit smaller, a little bit friendlier, and you're a great person to be around. But for all the connections you've made and all those people we've met, places we've been together, I've never seen you happier than when you're with this woman right here. And today is really, really quite special to watch. See you be so happy and get to spend the rest of your lives together. So yeah, I looked around, not a single question in sight, and yeah, I'd like to drink to Lee and Reagan. And to young Leon Emmett Sport IV. Thank you. Yeah.
Put your arm around me?
I will.
Well, Zane's speech was quite refreshing after getting lambasted for a good 15 minutes. So thank you. I really appreciate that. First and foremost, thank you to every single person here. We really, really appreciate how far it was for most of you to get here, except McGorrin's. That was like a 2-minute walk. But for everybody else, thank you so much. I know it was a lot, and we really appreciate it, and we thank you. It means so much to us. Also, happy birthday. Maggie, this was about the most we could pull together for your birthday at such a short notice. I'm so sorry. I hope you enjoyed the cake. I just had to guess what you liked. Toothpaste and orange juice? Perfect, sweet. But I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Thank you guys. Every single person here, we can look around and have a deep personal connection with all of you, and it means a lot to each and every one of us here. Thank you so very much. To that, let's try to make this bar go dry.
Those lovely speeches.
Give her a kiss. There it is.
All right, if everyone wants to turn their attention to the dance floor, Mr. and Mrs. Sport will show their first dance.
Trust me, I don't normally come on quite this strong, but I can't seem to get you on my mind. Your face is so haunting, the only thing that I can see when I can't sleep, heaven knows I try. If I had the world to gain, throw it all away. Cause all I is you. Trust me, I can't be the only one who knows you're here, sitting all alone. Late nights, open minds, you and I are stuck into the sunrise. If I had the world to gain, I will go.
Everyone out to the dance floor as it's official